and welcome to the 5th edition of the Goa Arts and Literary Festival. I'm Giselle Figueredo, and today we have with us Mr. Willie, a Goan writer. So how are you today?
I'm fine.
We had a session on in Konkani, New Voices of the Soul.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, in this session we tried to showcase and deliberate upon the young generation of writers who are there in the literary field of Konkani especially, and the importance of encouraging these young writers, because the young writers are the future of literature. So it is, we talked about some of the poets, some writers. One of the participants even recited a poem.
Okay.
So it was very nice to see that there is so much of young blood coming into the.
Okay, so you got a good feedback basically.
Yes, we got a very good
That's
feedback.
nice. Now you've written 7 books in Konkani and 1 in English.
Yes.
So how is it getting across to the young writers your message, especially written in Konkani?
There is a sort of a renaissance in Konkani literature the last 10 years or so. That is when, coincidentally I can say that when I started writing in about 2004.
Okay.
And ever since that has happened, unfortunately the script issue also came up, but apart from that, there are readers. Readers have also been coming up, and they've been reading what we write. So it makes us very happy. People do, very young people also do call and give us their their feedback on what I have written. Yes.
That's lovely. Do you follow a particular theme or schematic across your books? Is there a particular concept behind?
No, there's no particular concept as such, but my very first book is Altri and Altri.
Yeah.
It's the two sides of the river.
Okay.
Now I got this idea of writing this poem because I used to, for about 5 years, I have to shift to another. I'm basically from Panjim, but I have to shift to Sankeli, and to go there I had to cross a ferry boat.
Okay.
And around the same time they had started the work on constructing a bridge over.
Okay.
So I would, after crossing the ferry, I would sit in a small restaurant to eat bhaji pav, and I would be hungry.
Okay.
And I used to listen to their conversations, and that inspired me and triggered a novel into me.
Okay.
And about the whole politics which went into building the bridge, and in that I also talked about how bridges between people were built and not allowed to be built in the entire process.
Okay, so
that
there's an outer meaning and something in depth as well. That's lovely.
Yeah.
I wanted to know a couple of your books, Petrine, which you released in 2012. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
This is one of my favorite books because this story of Petrine was there in my mind even before I wrote Altri and Poltodi.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm not a filmmaker, but my intention was to make a film, but I don't have I didn't have the resources. So I said, I have developed this skill of writing in Konkani. So I converted this into a novel, and this story is about. It takes place during the liberation time, just 5 years before the liberation of Goa.
Okay.
And when the liberation movement was, hotting up, the Portuguese, in desperation, they sent a very dreaded agent. His name was Casimiro Monteiro. He was known as Agent Monteiro.
Okay.
To sort of put a fear into the minds of the freedom fighters.
Okay.
So I wrote the story about this young girl who falls in love with a very courageous, brave freedom fighter.
Okay.
And she has never met him, she has never seen him, but everyone talks about him.
Okay.
And based on what she hears about him, his bravery, she falls in love with him. But unfortunately, he is killed by this Sergeant Monteiro, and she loses her mental balance.
Okay.
Her name is Katarina. So from Katarina, when she becomes mad and she starts roaming the streets, they call her Petrine. And and the story ends during the Konkani agitation during the mid-1980s.
So a lot of Goan heritage, basically.
Yeah. I did a lot of
That's
research
lovely.
on of the historical part of what happened during the pre-liberation to the Konkani agitation.
All right. That's nice. And even your book, Kand.
Yeah. Kand again was inspired by last exposition of St. Francis Xavier.
Okay.
The entire book is revolving around the exposition, when in the last exposition the common people carried the relics.
Okay.
This time it was not, but
Yeah.
last time the 10 people from each deanery were selected and they were lined up and they all
Okay.
carried a relic. So this story is about a man who's cynic. He's out to poison the minds of the youth and the parish
Okay.
youth and everything, and he's always criticizing the church.
Okay.
And the parish priest purposely chooses him to be one of the bearers. Khand means shoulder,
Shoulder.
and in Konkani we say when we shoulder, when we carry the image of the statue of the saint, or even for funerals, coffins, that is known as khand maro.
Okay.
Khand.
Mhm.
So this story, it's about this man who's chosen to carry the relics, and all through he makes fun of it, and actually when he's carrying the relics, there's a transformation in him.
Okay.
Yeah, and this
A
same,
silver lining.
yes,
Okay. That's
and
lovely.
yeah, and this same book I have also converted into audio. I have recorded it.
Okay.
I've made an audio, and it is available in cyberspace on a site called Archives.
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah, and I got a very good response for it. You
That's
can listen
lovely.
to the book also.
Lovely.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any message for young Goan writers out there?
Yes, the message is that writing, they should think about reading first. Like I have been a reader before I became a writer. I was a voracious reader. I read a lot of novels, and this thing used to come in me that if I can, why can't I be a writer? Why can't I write? So today's generation must start reading. Reading, unfortunately, has gone down because of all the other media. The television is there, the internet is there, and there is a lot of distraction. And for that reason, the reading habits have died down.
Okay.
So that today's youth have to take up reading. They will be exposed to so much more,
Correct.
which they don't realize right now. Only when they start reading, they will realize.
Mhm.
And then perhaps they themselves could be writers. Like
True.
I'm going through my experience that I was a reader and I was yearning to be a writer, and finally I became a writer.
Okay.
Yeah. So my message is that the youth today should take up reading, resist the temptation of getting hooked to the iPad or all these media. I'm not saying they are bad.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a technology, we have to be in that, but
Yeah.
when you read a book, it's a different experience
Correct.
altogether.
One last thing. How are you enjoying the Goa Arts and Literary Festival?
Yes, this is something which excites me, because these things were not there when I was young.
Okay.
When I was in the college, these things are not there. We were not exposed to it. But this is very exciting. We meet so many people, so many writers. Some of them we have read about. Some of them we have communicated via Facebook or other media. But when we meet each other, it's a different feeling
experience.
altogether. It's fantastic. I mean, being here itself, I wouldn't want to leave. I was there yesterday. I was there for I will be there tomorrow. I don't feel like leaving this place because I keep on meeting people.
That's lovely. All right. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you
time.
very much. Yeah. Thank you.
That is all we have from Mr. Willie. So stay tuned for some more interviews.